Kmart is the reason it lost its place in the market, and it deserves everything it got. There are only 2 Kmart stores left in America, and the company went bankrupt forever, by its own hands. In this video, you will find out the reason, and how a capitalist to the bone person could suck billions of dollars out of it before throwing it in the trash, bankrupt. With it ended a retail giant that was, until very recently, the pride of Americans. And not only that, but I will explain the method this person used to devour Kmart and trap it with a genius, very evil strategy that made thousands of employees lose their jobs. In this video, I have 5 reasons that I see built the Kmart empire, and 5 reasons that made it lose everything. And honestly, I see the 5th reason as one of the most important, because it will reveal to you how $18 billion can be stolen in broad daylight and completely legally. Of course, you will know why I repeat this every time, because Kmart actually had a chance. But first, before we begin, we have to go back in history to understand what Kmart is and how it started. History and the 5 reasons for success.
Our house for the holiday. What do you think?
I think you need some help from Martha Stewart every day.
This week, all 3 lit Martha Stewart every
You
day.
can trace Kmart's roots all the way back to 1897, when a man named Sebastian Kresge started opening discount stores in Detroit. This eventually turned into the SS Kresge Company. For decades, the company grew steadily, but in 1959, a new president named Harry Cunningham took over the company, and he realized that the retail landscape was changing. He knew that for the company to survive, it must evolve, and this evolution led to the birth of the Kmart empire. That evolution created these 5 reasons that made Kmart a giant in the retail world. Cunningham didn't just want to sell cheap goods, he wanted to reinvent how people shopped and redefine the meaning of shopping. He studied the market and realized that the key to massive wealth wasn't high profit margins, but insanely fast inventory turnover. By lowering the prices of goods, but selling them in massive quantities, profits would skyrocket. And so, on March 1st, 1962, the first Kmart store opened its doors. And in a paradox that might seem strange, 1962 was the exact same year that Walmart and Target also opened their first stores. You need to keep this point in your mind because we will come back to it later. This move was a genius move from Kmart. While other major stores were fighting over expensive real estate inside giant shopping centers, malls, Kmart did something different. They strategically built massive standalone stores in suburban plazas. This allowed them to avoid paying crazy mall rents, escape direct competition, and provide massive, dedicated parking lots for the American middle class that was rapidly moving to live in the suburbs. Well, this offer was the peak of marketing brilliance because it strikes a sensitive chord in the human mind and soul, which is FOMO, fear of missing out. In 1966, Kmart accidentally invented one of the greatest marketing tricks in history. A store manager started flashing a blue police light, and a voice over the loudspeakers announced, "Attention Kmart shoppers." Customers had only 15 minutes to rush to that section and buy a heavily discounted item. It wasn't just a discount, it was turning shopping into a game. It created adrenaline and urgency and trained customers to stay in the store longer, just waiting for the next alarm. Also, some of them literally bought things they might not even need just to take advantage of the discounts. And let's not forget that if someone stays inside the store for all that time, the probability that they buy other products from the shelves is very high. Maybe this point seems normal to us in these years, but in the beginning, Kmart was among the pioneers. Long before Amazon existed, Kmart was the ultimate one-stop shop. You could change your car tires, buy a winter coat, pick up gardening tools, and eat at the store's cafeteria all in one trip. Later, they revolutionized retail again through partnerships with celebrities like Martha Stewart and Jaclyn Smith, offering exclusive and highly desirable brands to everyday shoppers. But maybe this excessive comprehensiveness might also have a negative impact in the long run, and we will explain this point too. Because the model worked perfectly and amazingly, there was nothing to stop Kmart from expanding aggressively. By the 1970s alone, they were building a new store almost every week. By 1976, they achieved sales of $8.4 billion, completely crushing their competitors. And in 1977, the SS Kresge company officially changed its name to Kmart Corporation because Kmart was making 95% of the company's money. At this moment, Kmart seemed invincible and it looked like the situation would stay like this forever, but they were wrong. Behind the scenes, the company was building its own grave with its own hands. The problems in this company were cooking on a slow fire, which of course would lead to dismantling it later. So what happened? Well, we will find out now. Here are the 5 harsh reasons for the collapse that I see, which are also the real reason. I told you that comprehensiveness might be one of the reasons for Kmart's collapse, and this is true. By the late 1990s, the rules of the retail game changed and Kmart got stuck in the middle. Walmart snatched the title of everyday low prices. You went to Walmart when you wanted the absolute cheapest item. On the other hand, Target rebranded itself as an upscale discount store, offering trendy, designer-inspired products in clean, wide, and classy aisles. So where is Kmart in all of this? Well, honestly, no one knows. Kmart itself didn't know. They couldn't beat Walmart on price, and they couldn't beat Target on quality. They simply became the dirty, boring, and more expensive alternative. This is where Walmart truly destroyed Kmart. Walmart invested heavily in satellite technology and advanced supply chain logistics. Their computers knew exactly what was selling and automatically ordered more. Where was Kmart? They completely ignored technology. Their distribution network was expensive and outdated. I mean, absolute junk. Therefore, when Kmart launched a massive promotion, the supply chain would collapse, leaving the shelves completely empty. Customers would walk in, see nothing but empty shelves, and walk right out to go to their competitor, Walmart. Instead of fixing their terrible supply chain and updating their ugly stores, Kmart's management panicked, running around like a headless chicken. After Kmart's panic, they started desperately buying other companies to hide the failure of their core business. Throughout the 80s and 90s, they spent billions buying Builders Square, Walden Books, Borders, Office Max, and the Sports Authority. It was a massive distraction. In the end, Kmart realized they had absolutely no idea how to run these companies and were forced to sell them at a massive loss, which was a knockout blow to Kmart that was already staggering in failure. This random flailing didn't just lose them their position against Walmart, but made them blind to the true value of their assets. A blindness that Eddie Lampert would exploit in the ugliest way, as we will see shortly. In August 2000, a new CEO named Charles Conway took office and made a disastrous business decision. He tried to start a direct price war with Walmart. Kmart launched the Dare to Compare campaign, trying to literally match Walmart's prices. But Walmart's advanced supply chain meant they could afford those low prices, while Kmart couldn't. Walmart ruthlessly slashed prices. Kmart lost massive cash liquidity during the 2001 holiday season, and due to its inability to pay its suppliers, Kmart filed for bankruptcy Chapter 11 on January 22, 2002. For any normal person, bankruptcy is the end. But for the man we talked about, bankruptcy was just the beginning of a completely legal heist. Honestly, this is the most tragic part of the story. While Kmart was living in bankruptcy court and trying to survive, a hedge fund manager named Eddie Lampert saw a golden opportunity. At first glance, this man claimed he was here to save Kmart, but his goal was way beyond that. Using a tactic known as vulture investing, Lampert bought massive amounts of Kmart's debt for pennies on the dollar. And as part of the reorganization process after bankruptcy, those debts were converted into shares, which gave Lampert absolute control over the entire company. But Lampert didn't care about Kmart's legacy or its employees. He cared about the dirt the stores were built on. Remember when I said Kmart bought and built its stores in the suburbs to avoid rent? Well, this man saw his opportunity. Let me explain. When Kmart emerged from bankruptcy in 2003, they used a legal accounting loophole called fresh start reporting. On paper, Kmart officially valued its massive real estate empire, thousands of properties and ultra-cheap 50-year leases at a laughable amount of $10 million, which for Wall Street is just pocket change, or even an amount cheaper than a Rolls-Royce swept hill. And in his masterstroke in late 2004, Lampert announced merging Kmart with the other retail giant Sears in a $12.3 billion deal to form a giant holding company, Sears Holding. But analysts quickly realized that this entity wasn't created to compete with Walmart, but was just a financial vessel Lampert used to dismantle both companies together and sell their assets. Lampert continued selling unprofitable Kmart leases in Sears stores to pump billions of dollars of liquid cash directly into his own businesses and mysterious private investment funds. Experts describe what he did as a deliberate dismantling. He squeezed the company's blood completely. While he was draining billions from the real estate, he deprived the actual stores of any updates or new merchandise. He let the shelves empty out, the buildings decay until the entity choked completely, and it ended up with closing the stores and laying off tens of thousands of employees into the streets. Maybe Eddie Lampert is the one who hammered the final nail in the coffin, but Kmart is the one that built the coffin itself. In any case, that company was on its way to collapse, and Lampert or whoever else would have done the exact same thing. Every single problem of Kmart stemmed from arrogance, a lack of vigilance, and strategic blindness. Instead of watching out for danger, they ignored it. Walmart invested in the future, and Target invested in the customer experience, while Kmart didn't invest in anything, and because of that, a multi-billion-dollar empire was wiped off the face of the earth, leaving thousands without a job. Thank you for watching.